In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a checklist within D2L. I've used it in a couple of courses and students really appreciate the functionality of it, and it's a little bit unintuitive, so we're going to go through the process. There are a couple of ways you can get to the checklist creation screen. One way to do it is to go through the content tool, so we're going to start that way. I'm going to go to the content tool, I'm going to go to the module that I need to add the checklist to, and then I'm going to go under New, and I'm going to select New Checklist, and then I'm going to give it a title. We'll just call it Checklist. And then here in the instructions area, this is just for some sort of summary that you might want to give or directions you might want to give to your students. You can also choose to leave this area blank. This is not where you put the actual elements of your checklist. That's coming in a minute. So give it a title, a description if you want, and then hit Publish. And then, this is really important, we need to add new list. So you have to go here and click on Add New List. And here you can title the list. This is like a category of a checklist in the list area. So I'm going to say Category 1. And then adding a new task to list 1. Here is where you actually add the task. So I'm going to click in here. I'm going to type do thing 1. Of course, this would be a little more fleshed out. And you can do things like add a due date, which fills in by default, but you can change it or take it out. Or you can add a description. Now, both the due date and the description are optional. If you're feeling really nice for your students, you can actually have the description link to the tool that you want to use by using the quick link tool. But you can also just leave this blank. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this blank. I'm going to actually clear the due date because I don't want to say that it's due at this exact moment, which is what the default is. And I could keep adding new tasks. So we'll just add one more task. We're going to say do thing 2. And then we're going to say that that's done. If I wanted to add a new category, it would be here in the new list area. So you might use category 1 for like readings, let's say. And then you might have a second category of assignments. And you would have some new tasks in here. So we'll just say task 3, do assignment 1. Sure. Okay, so this is one way that you can build checklists. So I'm going to go back to this module, and then I'm going to impersonate a student really quick, and I'm going to show you what this looks like from the student view, because it's a little hard to see it from the faculty view. So I'll be right back showing you from the student view. Okay, now I'm impersonating a student in the same module, and we're going to go ahead and look at this checklist. This is what the checklist looks like from the student view. So as you can see, here's the readings area, do thing 1, do thing 2, assignments, do assignment 1. There is another way, though, that you can set this checklist up. It's the same checklist tool, but the view is just a little bit different. So I'm going to switch back to the faculty view and show you that. Okay, I'm back in faculty view, and I'm going to show you the other way to add a checklist, and it is through the edit course tool. This takes you actually to the checklist page. It's kind of like you can build Dropboxes and quizzes in D2L either from content or from the tool itself. We're going to do that same thing going from the edit course menu for checklists. So I'm here on the edit course menu. I'm going to select the checklists tool. And I've got a couple other checklists in here. The one that we just created is this one here at the bottom. So I'm going to click on that just to show you what it looks like from this view. You can see I've got a description. Again, we left that blank. And then here's the categories and the items. We did that reading area and the assignments area. This kind of gives you an idea of what it would look like to build a checklist from this view. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of here, and then we're just going to create a new checklist just to show you this other interface. I'm going to call this checklist 2. Again, I could give it a description. I generally like the new window option. You don't have that option to turn on the other screen, but you do have it here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then I'm going to hit save. And much like going through the other way, you then have to go back in and add your categories and items. So from this view, I would start with a new category. I would call the category, maybe this is the readings category. Again, the description is optional. I'm going to hit save. And then I'm going to do an item within that category. So read thing 1. I can give it a due date. I can choose to have it display in the calendar. And then I hit save. No matter how you create it, once you have this checklist created, you can then include it as a link on a news item, in a widget on the home page, in a page within your module. There's a lot of different ways that you can link that checklist. I think the functionality of the two different ways I showed you to create it are about the same. You can just pick the one you prefer, but I do think this is a really helpful tool for students. Some students are really checklist driven, and that really helps them kind of get coherent about what is exactly due when. So I would encourage you to check out the checklist tool.